No matter how clean and organized an auto salvage facility is, people still think of them as junkyards.
That's right. Jeff Cantor, the owner of Car World in Candia, is trying to change that old-fashioned perception.
He knows what most of us think of when we picture a final resting place for an old broken down car, but now he wants you to see his version.
In fact, you might be looking at the first of its kind environmentally sensitive auto recycling center.
Or in terms you may be more familiar with, a clean and green junkyard. Jennifer Vaughn talks trash.
He's pretty famous in some circles, though you may never have heard of him. His is a multi-million-dollar-a-year business, but you probably never stopped by. But for those of you out there who get a kick out of cars and all those bits and pieces that keep them running, this is just about the coolest place ever.
Down here we have power steering pumps. We have your little door window switches.
Every little gadget you can imagine
Yep.
for every car on this planet.
Everything.
He wasn't born a gearhead. In fact, Jeff Cantor spent his younger years serving his country in the Army and trying to peddle Xerox products in Boston. Eventually, he and his college roommate got into the junkyard business.
A lot of hard work, a lot of years. It's given me a fairly decent life, but you know, I enjoy doing it, so it's not like I'm sacrificing. I enjoy it.
Since 1977, the year he bought that roommate out, Car World in Candia has been all his. By 1979, Jeff had begun his own green program, and it was lonely at first. Just 1% of all recyclers were thinking like he was.
Besides doing best management practices and doing the things that should be done properly, you go a little above and beyond. You know, you're storing everything right. Every one of your containers is labeled like used oil or used antifreeze. You have a clean showroom. You have a clean operation. You don't have clutter all over the place.
By now, he's earned the distinction of becoming New Hampshire's very first certified green yard, an honor given by the governor and the State Department of Environmental Services. Tough to pull off when you're in the business of broken down cars, but around here, recycling rules. If it can be pulled out, cleaned up, and used again, it is. Jeff says it was a personal decision to reach out to the DES in the first place.
We developed one of the first bureaucracy industry relationships in this state or throughout the country, because Vermont, Massachusetts, Maine would all like to have the same relationship we had.
His employees are a loyal bunch. Many of them have been here for decades, careful to train anyone new who comes on board to be environmentally sensitive at all times, even if that means prowling for scraps that most of us would just throw away. Scrap cardboard.
Just junk cardboard that was all ripped apart.
Any of us would throw away.
Exactly, including us. We would have thrown this away for years. This machine is made in Germany. It just... And all of a sudden now I can wrap taillights, headlights, doors, and it gives me a cushion, but it gets rid of the scrap and the waste and saves me from buying new.
The vehicles come in from all over the place as cast-offs from insurance companies, good deals at auctions, car dealers, tow companies, even government agencies. Some of them worse than others, but each gives back a little something.
We drain the oil, the power steering fluid, the brake fluid, the rear end grease, and all that gets put into these drums or tanks, and we heat the building with that. And then we save all the antifreeze and drain that, and all the washer fluid, and we put those in 1-gallon jugs, and we give it to our customers or sell them to them for $1 a gallon.
The phones jingle almost non-stop. Inquiries pour in from body shops, garages, dealers, backyard mechanics, you name it. Plenty of times, what someone needs is somewhere out here.
The phones never stop. We have inventory, we have computers. We're the 40th company in the world in our industry to be computerized. You can look up a part. It tells you how many you have in stock. It just never stops.
Chances are, if you've ever spent some time under the hood, you've wound up back here, searching for that elusive part that just might bring your old record back to life. Every car back here is available for public consumption. Dave Venditti heads straight for the foreign cars today, trying to find one specific part that he can't find anywhere else.
Air conditioner relay for a 1984 Mercedes 190 diesel is not available. If you call the parts store or Mercedes, it's unavailable. You can't get it. And the only way to get it is to grab it off a junk car.
Eventually, just like a Thanksgiving turkey, there is nothing left on these cars to pick through, and they're just taking up space.
Any chance we can mush a couple of cars?
Here's when you might start to feel a little sorry for the battered, bare-boned cars that no one can take care of anymore. This is the end of the line.
And now when we send off a load, there'll be 20 to 22 cars on a flatbed, and they'll head down towards Boston.
Adios, amigos.
Yep, that's it.
But as the sun sets on the yard each day and the fluids are drained, stacked away, and secured, Jeff Cantor heads for home. He'll get up the next day and do the same thing, just like he's been doing for all these years. But it's a good life, in a good place, and Jeff wants to make sure he leaves it just as pristine as it was when he first got here.
It was important to me because I didn't have just a business. I had land, property that would be valuable at the end because I love New Hampshire. I know that sounds corny, but it's coming up from New York in 1961, I found this is heaven up here.